Welcome to Fantasy Kingdom. I am your host, Mikey, and riding shotgun upstairs today. Howie, what's going on, brother?
No, not too much. Just loving football this week, I tell you.
I know week one is in the books.
Yep.
I will tell you, as a Bills fan, it crushed me Monday night. It was also really sad to see Aaron Rodgers go down.
Oh, it was tough.
You
And, it,
know,
and it's not like he went down violently. He went down,
right?
he got up, he sat down, and you could see by the look on his face, he knew it was over.
Right?
You could just tell. He's like, shit.
That's just
And
one of
didn't
those
you,
things.
yeah, didn't even throw a pass, and
Through
uh,
one was 0 for 1. Through
yeah,
one pass, didn't complete a pass.
right.
Done for the year, torn Achilles. We'll see what he decides to do with his future. Hopefully, he decides to come back and play. Hopefully, he doesn't go out that way.
Yeah,
But that's a long rehab for
for an old
a
man.
quarterback who's older. I'm not gonna say an old man because I'm actually older than he is.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, so it's one of those things for an older NFL player. So,
Yeah. They said they knew right away because the test for the Achilles is you
mhm,
lay a person flat and then you take their calf and you squeeze it. And if their foot doesn't go like that,
mhm,
well, the Achilles is what does that. So
yeah.
you give it a squeeze, it lays there. Simple test.
Oh, it sucks for him. But tonight's show is all about our waiver wires for week
Yeah.
2. So we will still have our Saturday live sit and start, and we'll now come back this Saturday. But for today, let's jump right into our sit start players. So Howie, with that, let's go with Howie's weekly waiver wire pickups. Who do you have?
Okay, well, and if you lost a running back this weekend or you're still looking for one, they're few and far between out there, so you need to jump. Um, you got Rashawn Johnson from Chicago. He's running back.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled 17 and a half points out of I don't know where because I never heard of him before, and so he's good to look at. Josh Kelly's at the top of my list right now because I'm an Eckler owner,
Mm-hmm.
and Eckler's he hurt his ankle about third quarter and didn't play a whole lot after that, and they're looking that you got to look at him on the injury report this week. But while Josh was just backing him up, he went for 91 yards and a touchdown. So even if Eckler's there, they're going to use them both. So if you're really hurting for a running back, I like Josh Kelly. I'd pick him up, but then I'd have six guys off of the Chargers, which makes it awful tough for bye week.
Right?
And yeah, and then the running back I picked up is Justice Hill.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't. I look at his points. It's a 12.9. Oh, that's great. But he had 9 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a couple receptions, which got him to his points. So maybe I jumped a little quick on that one. I don't know. I'm hoping that he's going to be the goal line guy at least for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've got for running backs. You might have somebody else.
Yep. So those are actually the same running backs I had. So let's quickly go through them. Roshan Johnson is the rookie out of Texas. He backed up Bijan last year at the University of Texas. He was a 5th-round pick this year. Had actually did really well through training camp and preseason. Everyone assumed he was going to be the RB2 in Chicago. So to hear that he did so well with Herbert already there, and really in a horrible game, they did not look good.
Yeah, they had a rough game. That I think DJ Moore got like 2 catches.
Mm-hmm.
Only scored a couple points, and their receiving was rough. But they had to run the ball.
Mm-hmm. Joshua Kelly is always Austin Eckler's backup. He's not really worth much unless Eckler doesn't play. If
Right.
Eckler doesn't play, that's when you want to jump on him. But if you have somebody if you have that streamer on your bench, Kelly might be worth that grab just in case. And then lastly, you had who was the third one that you had?
I had Justice Kelly.
Or Justice Hill.
Justice Hill.
Justice Hill. Justice Hill is going to be in a timeshare with the other running back there, the big guy, Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards, and they're bringing up Melvin Gordon. Whether or not that means anything, I don't know. But
I don't know if it's gonna mean much. I was surprised to see that Justice Hill was the one that got the goal line carries, considering that's really a Gus Edwards type of position. But it'll be interesting to see does Justice Kelly Justice Hill take more of the RB1 Dobbins
Right.
role since he is out for the year with torn Achilles as well.
Yeah.
So I like those three. Those are like probably the three. Outside of those three, though, that might be out there, depending on how deep your league is. It's slim pickings. Zach Moss. Zach Moss is getting ready to return for Indianapolis. Um, the Colts running back that filled in last week really did not look good at all. And then they lost the rookie as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evan Null or
Yep.
yeah.
Zach Moss might be somebody you look if you're desperate for a running back. So who's your wide receivers?
Okay, got a lot of wide receivers out there. Let's go with the silly name guys first. Both from the Rams. Paku Nakua. He scored 21.9 points without a touchdown. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do. He went 10 for 119. And Tutu Atwell, he did pretty much the same thing, got almost 18 points on 6 catches for 119. So they threw the ball around a lot last week. But
and they're going to. That Rams offense, it's what they do.
They're going to have to. They're going to have to. Let's see, other guys that of note, Kendrick Bourne from New England. He had 6 for 64 and 2 touchdowns. And let's see, Jacoby Myers. You don't usually hear a lot about him because you hear about Dante. But he's in concussion protocol now. I mean, about the time I wrote his name down for hey, take a look at him, I noticed he was hurt. So
he got hurt late in the fourth quarter of that game.
Yeah, so you gotta figure he might pull out of it, but that's something you got to watch for next week.
Yep.
And let's see who else. Rashid Shaheed from New
Orleans. New Orleans. Yeah, he had a really good game.
That guy can move too. I mean, he would just flash in and out of the screen. He went 5 for 89 and a touchdown. Romeo Doubs, as long as Christian Watson's out, he's going to be the go-to guy in Green Bay. He did a lot on very little. He had 4 catches, 26 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
So he made the most of what he had. That's about it for me with wide receivers right now. You might have somebody I don't know.
I do. Calvin Austin III. He plays for Pittsburgh. With Deontay Johnson going to be out for multiple weeks with a hamstring. The number 1 and 2 is Pickens and Robinson, but the number 3 is the diminutive Calvin Austin III. The dude's lightning fast. He had 6 catches, 37 yards. So if you're in a PPR league, Calvin Austin III is someone to look at. He did that in probably about a half because Deontay Johnson didn't go down until I think the third quarter. So just someone to look at going into next week. I'm trying to think. Was there other? I mean, imagine there's other ones out there. Who was real good?
No, I was just saying that the ones I picked up I picked the 5 or 6 guys who were at the top of the list, undrafted, and scored the most. If you're in a 12, 14 team league, the guys I would have for you would be much lower, and they'd be scoring 6, 7 points maybe. When you get into a league like that and you're hurting for people, you're hurting for people because there's nobody left after a 14-team draft.
No, I totally agree. The first 2 that you talked about, Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell, with Cooper Kupp going on the IR for 4 weeks, those are 2 really good ones if you can get them, because they're gonna throw the ball. When you look at it,
even when he comes back, he's still going to be the big threat, and they're still going to get a lot of dump offs. The 2 of them, they're showing that they can catch the ball anyway. So for your your third down, your 3rd and 8, whatever.
Yep.
They might not go long to Kupp, but they're seeing that they can dump it off to these guys. So
From a running back standpoint, depending on also how deep your league is, Tyler Algier
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
For the Falcons seems to be he actually out carried Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
He had 15 for 75 and 2 touchdowns.
I think that's going to be a committee for a while till Bijan gets a little seasoned, understands more about the NFL game, and finds his way. But having Algier in your pocket, I mean, we talked about this last week, how in a lot of drafts people just forgot about him.
Yeah. Well, because of the mouse you have to feed in that backfield. You know, you have Cordell Patterson, and then you have Bijan Robinson, who was going in the first or second round in most drafts.
Right.
So, if you're looking for a deep sleeper for Atlanta, Mac Hollins, wide receiver. He had 3 catches, 31 yards. Not going to do a bunch from a fantasy standpoint, but if you're really hurting for wide receivers, he'll see more targets. So who do you have for tight ends?
Tight ends. That's a little shallow too, but I like Hunter Henry.
Okay.
He went 5 for 56 and a touchdown. Hayden Hurst, 5 for 41 and a touchdown. And the guy I really like, but I don't know if he's going to be a huge scorer. He plays for the Chargers. Is Donald Parham.
Yeah.
He was 3 for 21 with a touchdown, but the guy is 6'8", and when it comes to throwing into the end zone, from the 5-yard line out, that gives him almost a what? When he jumps, when he jumps, he's jumping 10 feet high.
Yeah.
So, and he looks great. I mean, big, strong guy. I like him. Maybe in the deeper leagues, but it's shown that the Chargers are going to throw the ball.
Yeah,
they're going to throw the ball to everybody they can, and they always have injuries every year. Their best guys, Williams, Keenan, even Eckler, they use them so much that they get beat up, and they're going to go to the tight end. Last year it was Everett, who didn't do a whole lot, but I think he's going to score 5 or 6 touchdowns this year.
Yeah. No, I like that. Is Parham the only tight end you have on your list?
He's the third one, yeah.
He's the third one? Okay.
And I've got another guy, Luke Musgrave.
Luke Musgrave.
Green Bay.
Yeah, and Luke Musgrave's a good one, as he's a rookie coming out. Another rookie to think of, depending on if you have any Buffalo Bills fans in your fantasy draft, Dalton Kincaid. He caught all 4 passes thrown to him. Seems like he's going to be a bigger and bigger piece of the Bills' offense. Someone you should think about snagging if he's out on the waiver wire. He's a rookie. He had a really good preseason and camp, so there's a lot of hype around him. But I think there's more hype around the Bills than the national media. So if you are looking for someone, from a tight end standpoint, you can go with any one of those 4. You should be good to go.
Yeah.
What else you got on your list?
Let's see. I've got in case you had Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback.
Yes.
I got a guy who most people just pass him by because he's on the Patriots. Mac Jones. He went 316 for 3 touchdowns and an interception, and he's throwing to that guy Kendrick Bourne that I told you about. Yep. So if you're hurting for both of those, it's a nice little stack. Yeah. And they handled the Eagles quite well the other day. I think the biggest problem the Eagles had is when they'd have a set of three receivers over on the side, and stack them up and go. Pretty much every time they beat them. So that's an Eagles defense problem, but it's a good problem for the Patriots. I don't see them winning a ton of games, but they're going to be one of those fantasy teams that has to throw.
Okay, I like that.
They're going to be behind a lot.
Quarterback that I have that a lot of people seem to be high on, but they are not expecting a lot of, Anthony Richardson. He was 24-37 for 223, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but he ran for 40 yards and touchdown as well.
Yeah, the touchdown he ran in, it was wide open. He's lucky he didn't have to hit anybody, but it was pretty.
It was. So, if you're looking for just a scorer, Anthony Richardson is the guy who's going to give you the dual threat as well. And he's only going to get better as the year goes.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do it because of his running back situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. From a kicker standpoint, do you have any kickers on your list?
Jason Sanders from Miami.
Yes.
He's been overlooked, and it looks like It looks like even if he's kicking extra points, he's going to kick a lot of them this year.
Right.
That just
Right.
looks like it, you know.
Yep. Jason Sanders is available in about 70% of leagues.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how if he's picked up. He was one of the best kickers a few years ago. Then they brought in a different punter, and then he struggled. He was pretty solid last year, and then I have a feeling he's going to be kicking a lot of extra points this year.
Right.
That offense looks explosive.
When it comes to kickers, though, when I studied up on kickers, I would say that half the league or more are within a point to 3/4 of a point of each other on average.
Yep.
So I intend to stream my kickers this year. I'm going to be a streaming demon this year. I'm doing kicker, quarterback, tight end, defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just going to play the matchups and the bye weeks, and then when I get a team that's done with its bye week, I'll keep it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm the same way. I stream. I usually have 2 spots on my roster to stream. I'll only ever draft 1 defense, 1 kicker, 1 quarterback, and then I stream with those 2 spots.
Sure.
Those 3 positions. So, yeah. I like that better.
I get past week 5 and I'm golden because I have 6 guys, almost all starters. I'm going on week 5.
Yeah.
But once I get past that, I'm okay, and I'm off to a good start. Everybody might want to know about our league, our little 8-team friends and family league.
Mm-hmm.
We just broke into our 20th year. We've only, out of the 8 guys, we've only replaced 3 over 20 years. So it's a tight league, and everybody's getting pretty good. This year, I was in a position where I traded away my first, second, and third pick, so I didn't pick till pick 31.
Yep.
And it's only week 1, but I'm leading the league, so I'm a happy guy.
Oh,
I'm a happy guy. You're going to hear it every week.
That's fine.
I blew it out this week, and my Redskins won, so that's a good week.
Josh Allen actually lost me my fantasy game this week. So not only as a Bills fan, not only as a Bills fan did he break my heart. He broke my heart from a fantasy standpoint too.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Let's talk about defenses. Do you have any defenses on your list?
Well, I don't know if anybody else drafted them, but I like the Redskins.
Okay.
I really like the Redskins. I happen to have both them and
the Commanders.
Jets. Yes, the Commanders. Yeah. if I must. Hey, the petition's out there. We'll be back.
Yes.
So, I'll try to.
No, you're fine. I just like to give you crap about
it. They're my guys, since high school. So.
Yep.
But yeah, I like the Red. I really like them.
Mm-hmm. New Orleans.
Who else? Yeah,
New Orleans is.
I'm trying to think who did really good.
But I'm just looking from a waiver wire standpoint. New Orleans is available in over 50% of leagues.
Yeah, well, that's crazy because normally year after year, New Orleans is known for their defenses.
Yeah,
and they get scooped up quite often.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised at how New England handled the Eagles, although it was wet, and but Eagles just snuck out of that game.
Yeah, you have to remember the Eagles also have a new offense and defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
so it's going to take them a little while. Another defense that probably didn't get selected, Cleveland.
Right,
Cleveland has a really good defense. They have a new defense coordinator in Jim Schwartz, who is known around the league and has a reputation. I have a feeling Cleveland it wasn't a fluke week 1. I have a feeling that defense is going to be really good.
Yeah, you match that defense with that deluge, and you got, that helped them a lot. Because there were times when even the cameramen, all you were getting, you couldn't even see the players half the, they were foggy pictures, and the balls were wet, and that's not an excuse for Cincinnati because as good as they are, I mean, Higgins didn't score a point.
Yeah,
fantasy-wide, he went 0. Chase, what was it? He got about, I think, 9 points because he played against me, which made me happy. But yeah. That was a tough week for the big boys.
It's a tough week, If you think about it, in the AFC, the Bills lost, the Bengals lost, the Chiefs lost. It was just, it was a wacky week 1, just like it is every year.
Yeah.
Don't read into only 1 week before you start,
Yeah, I
and
wouldn't.
write people off.
I wouldn't write in too much on that Giants game. Dallas did okay,
Mhm.
but the Giants were very overhyped, and just came down to a couple plays early, and
Mhm.
just took their heart out from them. So they're going to come back with a chip on their shoulder.
I'll be interested. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the Packers look like in week 2 after beating down the Bears. The Ravens didn't look that great against the Texans.
No, they didn't. Well,
it was a lot of sloppy football.
and their running back situation is so wobbly.
Yep.
They've got Lamar, and then they've got a bunch of human bowling balls.
Yep.
Which is a good thing, but if you don't know who's leading the pack, that's a little bit of trouble. So
okay. All right, so let's turn our attention from the waiver wire to the Thursday night football game, as we won't be able to preview it for Sit's start on Saturday for our live show. Who in the Thursday night football game are you looking that you would look to start?
I've got a bunch of starters in that game, actually.
Okay.
For the Vikings, of course, you got Jefferson, and then Addison did real well. I had a feeling he was going to be good this year just because he's going to be taking the slack up from Jefferson. They're going to double team Jefferson, and you got Addison, and they have several other wide receivers that are pretty good that they'll link off to. They also got Alexander Madison, he didn't have a great game, and he's been a lifelong backup, so he's got a lot to prove, I think, as a first string guy. And then of course you got Hawkinson.
Okay.
He's going to do well. Now, if you've got Cousins, I play him. Look at who he's throwing to. The Phillies, they're a little banged up right now.
The Eagles?
Yeah, Philly.
Okay.
Yeah, I said the Phillies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I knew who you were talking about.
Yeah, it's going to be the first interleague game, the Vikings against the Phillies. But you got Hurts, of course, A.J. Brown, Dante Smith, Goddard, Dallas Goddard. He didn't get anything this week.
No, he goose egged.
That was one of the defenses I was going to say. New England held them tough, And then you got Gainwell, but he's a little dinged up. They say he's got some sore ribs. Keep an eye on the injury list for that. And like I said, Philly had trouble with that stacked pack of New England. When they put a bunch of receivers together, they had trouble covering that. So that could be a big problem for them against the Vikings. I'm still gonna. I gotta pick the Eagles, but there's a good chance they lose this game and go 0-2.
Really?
Or 1-1.
You saw how bad the Vikings looked in week 1, right?
Yeah. But I didn't see anything with the Eagles either. The Eagles are running on last year's fuel right now for me. They got to show me something.
I will tell you,
they got to score more than 20 points.
I think that was more of a New England's defense and Bill Belichick defense that held them down versus what they're actually going to be. Right. Based off Fantasy Pros, Jalen Hurts the number 1 ranked quarterback this week, going into the week. If you want to look at running backs, if Gainwell doesn't go, it's probably going to be DeAndre Swift. I thought DeAndre Swift had a bad game last week, dropped a couple passes when he had the chance to do something. So it'll be interesting to see. I tend to stay away from the Eagles running back because it's a committee.
Oh,
it's not just one guy. Committee. It's a bit, because they have Penny, they have Swift, they have Gainwell, and I think they still have they have somebody else too. Bart Scott, or something Scott. Boston Scott.
Yeah, that whole payroll right there was equal to Miles Sanders' payroll.
Yep.
So they got rid of him down to Carolina, and they really devalue the running back there.
They do,
money wise. They like him, but they don't pay him.
Yep. And then from a wide receiver standpoint, Justin Jefferson's the number 2 wide receiver this week behind Tyreek Hill. A.J. Brown is the number 6 wide receiver behind Stephon Diggs and Amra St. Brown. Don't want to butcher the guy's name. The dude's a fantasy stud. Jalen Waddle is down there. Let's see who else is. What was the other guy that you had? Oh, Jordan Addison, right? So
Right.
Jordan Addison sits in the George Pickens, Cortland Sutton, Gabe Davis, Mike Thomas area.
Right.
Solid number 2. Probably not going to be an elite guy. I wonder where Devonta Smith lands. He lands lower than Jordan Addison. That's odd. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Because Devonta is a boomer bust play every week.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the Eagles, you don't know what Eagles team is going to show up, the passing or running. Now, if they can put it all together,
right.
You know.
Yeah, they'll be like they were last year.
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert, who had a 0 last week, expect a bounce back from him this week. He's tight end 6. So it'll be an interesting play. I like the matchup. It should be a good Thursday night game. I don't like the Vikings defense at all, so I have a feeling that Philly offense is going to explode.
I
think it's going to be a lot like that Chargers Dolphins game.
Yeah, it's high scoring, kind of a shootout. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I think.
If they can protect Cousins, it'll be a shootout. Because it's really the Eagles go based off that D line. They get pressure, they're in trouble. If they don't, then it'll be a shootout. Mm-hmm. Okay, with that, now that will conclude this week's Waiver Wire show. We'll be back on Saturday to do our fantasy live show to do the start sit for this week. And then we'll do our X Factors and we'll bring all that back and all that fun and stuff back. Maybe find a new Howie's Pepper Challenge.
Yeah, I've got some peppers growing in the garden right now. So
all right,
I'm ready. You guys,
all right.
If you're listening, give me a challenge. I love challenges.
So it'll be Saturday. It'll be Saturday at 11 Pacific. So what's that? 2 Eastern.
2 Eastern.
Yep, 11 Pacific, 2 Eastern, right here on Mafia Sports Report. So for Howie, I'm Mikey. We'll see you Saturday.